Hello and welcome to everyone. We know you have been waiting for this webinar and waiting in the room right now. We are going to just start in the next couple of minutes. It's 10:01 and we are going to get started to respect everyone who has joined well in time. So a very good morning to all of you. Asymmetrical Talks is welcoming you to a wonderful, wonderful topic today, mind over exams, a toolkit for handling exam stress. I'm sure that this topic speaks to a lot of you. So before we go ahead and get into the discussion, I would love to introduce asymmetrical and also the context of the topic because we have students, parents, teachers, and principals attending this webinar. Asymmetrical Learning, which is bringing you Asymmetrical Talks, is a digital library platform. And we work with schools and students across India to make reading and learning interesting. Uh, with this, we are attached to hundreds of schools and lakhs of parents, which fortunately gives us a front row seat uh, to what exactly is paining, what exactly is the issue. And with that in mind, all our asymmetrical talks are aimed at having good discussions about these topics, having experts give their opinions, and for us to have valid information. In the era of constant barrage of informations from our mobiles and laptops, sometimes it gets a little confusing as to what exactly to pick up from. There is no dearth of information, and that is why we love to have experts who are on ground and who are doing these things every day. When it comes to exams, we have received this particular topic constantly for 2 years, which is great that we are ready to talk about it, which is also worrisome that students are constantly under pressure. And because of this, we want to handle these topics with very, very good experts. We have had sessions with people like Dr. Bhushan Kelkar, who spoke about AI and careers ahead, so that our vision of what exactly lies in the future widens a little bit apart from the regular options that we see for children. We also spoke to child psychologist Aditya Vaishampayan to understand the mindset of students, not just in exams, but while they are growing up, and why exams matter and conversations matter to them. Uh, Today, from not just the academics perspective, but from wholesome perspective, Sarvangin perspective, we have Anjali Kulkarni ma'am with us. Uh, I'm sure that at 11 o'clock, you will leave much clearer about the topic of examinations that you are right now because she comes from a huge experience. So before we start with the questions, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome her and introduce her a little bit about her rather. So our guest today, Mrs. Anjali Kulkarni, is an educationist with around 3 decades of experience in shaping young minds. She holds masters in English literature, bachelor's in education, and diploma in early childhood education. That should tell you the entire span of the understanding that she has about the children. Her career spans across multiple reputed institutions, and for the last 24 years, she has been an integral part of Dr. Kalmadi Shamrao High School, Ganesh Nagar, where she has served in multiple roles teacher, coordinator, vice principal, and now principal since June 2025. If there are teachers and principals, you already know this, but this is more for parents. Her journey reflects that it's not just her dedication towards academics, but how she has nurtured leadership in multiple areas, right from entrepreneurship to hobbies of children. Beyond classrooms and this side of her, she's passionate about music and she's a member of group Swara Chanda. She loves traveling, spending time with her family. And as a mother, what I have seen is her daughter's entrepreneurial venture her streak, entrepreneurial streak, and as a mother, not just cheering for her, but encouraging her and partnering with her. So, thank you, Anjali ma'am, for being a part of this. We are very, very happy and looking forward to this discussion with you.
Thank you so much, Ketki.
So, ma'am, what we did is we gathered some questions from parents about this. We saw certain patterns and got these questions for you. If parents, if or even teachers, if there are any questions that we are not answering and if they are there in your mind, please put them in the chat box or Q&A section that is open for all of you, and we will try to take as many questions as possible. Uh, so, ma'am, when we were talking with parents about this, apart from what to do, can you tell us that why do exams create so much stress for parents, even though they are well prepared? This question comes from even parents of top performance, academically top performers in the school. That I know that my child is well prepared and still exam is causing immense stress. Could you elaborate a bit on?
Yeah, so basically, exams is something where there are expectations. The student will face the expectations from parents, from peers, and the student himself has a few expectations from self. So it feels for the student that this is the final judgment for me. His self-worth is going to be decided based on how he performs in the examination. And within few hours, like it could be a 3 hour examination, end of the three hours, he is going to be feeling whether I have that self-worth, whether I'll be able to meet up those expectations that my parents have on me. That is what causes all the stress on the students, because it's more about how am I going to perform and whether I'll be able to um, fulfill the expectations that people have put on me. So
Okay.
here I would like to give a piece of advice is that children need to think about their own previous performance and maybe compete with that rather than competing with somebody who's scoring 90%. Every child has a different potential. Every child has different inclinations. Focusing on that is more important than focusing on how I perform in comparison to my peers. So I would like to give an example of a Chinese story that I just heard yesterday. So there are two farmers, both of them are having rice plantations. So one morning, this farmer goes to his farm and observes that he has planted or sown the seeds at the same time that his neighbor has sown. But the neighbor's crop is a little taller than his own crop. So he starts feeling jittery, whether I'm going to have the right kind of harvest or not. And my crop also needs to be at par in height with my neighbor's crop. What he does at that time is that he pulls up the crop that is growing on his field. And he says, yes, now my crop is as tall as my neighbor's crop. He goes back home, has lunch, has dinner, rests. Next morning, he comes back to the farm only to see that his own crop has fallen. So no harvest that year. If we apply this logic to examinations and comparisons, शेजारच्या मुलाला एवढे मार्क पडले, तुला नाही पडत आहेत. So let's not, worry our children under these expectations and look at the stress levels that they are undergoing just with that one word examinations.
That is true. That is true. So, are you seeing, because when you interact with children, that a lot of this pressure is external or secondary, so to say?
Yes, it is. Sometimes it's also internalized because of the environment that is there around them.
Mm-hmm.
This performance, I would call this as performance anxiety that children have within them. Basically, because the society is structured in a particular way where everybody around them is talking about how you are performing in examinations, or the percentage of marks that a child scores in the examination becomes the deciding factor.
Okay.
मार्क पडले तर हे होईल.
Hmm.
This
Hmm.
particular equation is what gives them the stress, is what I feel. So the external stress is something that they internalize after a few days.
That is very interesting. But then, do you think that uh, the older children and younger children, let's say maybe around primary, so third or fourth graders, and after that, do they react to this stress a bit differently?
Yeah, so what we have observed is in the younger students, it is more so about falling ill during examinations, suffering from cough and cold, and maybe stomach aches, they become irritable. In the older kids, it is more about, stressing internally because they keep overthinking, they keep comparing themselves with their peers, and they worry about future opportunities because, again, that is spoken of in the family conversations. In the higher classes, that is observed a lot more than in the junior classes.
I have not thought about it this way. Children falling ill or the stomach
Yes,
upset
yeah,
because
yeah.
of stress. That is very interesting. So the parent should be sort of looking out for these signs.
Yes, 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 definitely. So again, I would like to give a personal example. You mentioned my daughter. So when she was very young, she's always had this anxiety about examinations. And every time she had to perform, whether it was examinations, performance in her examinations, or performance on stage or anything for that matter, she would have fever. So over a period of time, I realized the pattern, and then one has to take steps if you observe certain patterns. Then consulting the doctor. Then I started visiting a homeopath. Tried to get this eventually sorted. So I still have medication at home, where homeopathy medication, which I give her every time there is an examination till date. She's doing her masters now, but the process still continues.
I love this because it's not denying, it's not trying to solve. Because I'll tell you something. We visited one of our partner schools and we were discussing about this topic that you are going to come and all of this. And an older child, so I think he was a grade 8 or grade 7 child, and he said something that is still in my mind. He said, if possible, just tell parents not to be too positive, uh, which was very weird because we usually feel that as parents we should be positive, we should be giving. But older children, they know that if something is wrong, if maybe they are not very well prepared, if there is a particular topic, which I'll come to, if there is a particular subject that they are not comfortable with, usually math, science, then they are worried. And when parents say कि अरे काही नाही सगळं छान होणार आहे सब ठीक हो जाएगा डोंट वरी तू कर लेगा, maybe that's not the positive reinforcement that we as parents think it is. Rather, it's putting more pressure on them
Yes,
because
yes, it
we are
does.
dismissing that this is wrong with them. So I love the example that you gave, that there is the fear and we are seeking help, we are taking medication on a regular basis. This is awesome. Uh, so coming back to the topic of subjects again, usually we have heard that there are certain subjects that students just don't get. Usually we have heard math, science, you would know better as a principal. Any particular tips for studying better before examinations?
So, if you're talking basically about math and science and not getting the subject, the best thing that when the concept is being taught in the classroom, you don't get it, the best thing is to approach the person who is guiding you at that moment. That, you approach the person and say, I didn't get this. Can we redo this? Can you explain this again? But children also have this fear of being judged in the classroom. If they stand up when a particular concept is being taught and they say that, ma'am, I didn't get this, then they always have this fear that the peers are not going to take it in the right sense and they are going to be troubled during break times. अरे काय तुला एवढं पण नाही कळलं का? So they fear these kind of comments, and that's why they don't approach their teachers. I've had students coming to me during break times from other divisions saying that, ma'am, we don't want to approach our own teacher because there is this fear that she will judge me, that my peers will judge me. So can you guide me? I'm in a position where they can approach me for multiple reasons. So then they say, we'll tell them that we came to you for a different reason, but we have come to you to get our geography doubts clarified. So this fear is something that, children need to, or parents need help the children to work on. And if they come out of this shell that people are judging them and approach the teacher, maybe not the teacher, if they can even go up to any adult whom they feel comfortable with, get their doubts clarified, that would be of immense help to them. Otherwise, what happens is they go ahead keeping those problems in mind. That concept never gets cleared, and they try to keep building on a new concept for which the earlier concept is a foundation. So the cycle continues of not understanding and not getting the concept well because the foundation itself is not clear.
Okay. The teacher bit, what you said is very interesting. At a school level, do you train teachers or do you speak to teachers for this, that there
Yes.
could be some students who won't be getting it? How do you usually go about it?
So we do have regular sessions where we do tell the teachers that one needs to have an open kind of an approach. There will be students who may not understand the concept at the moment you are going to be teaching. They might approach you later. So as let's say it's the culture in the Kaveri group of schools that we are always looking after the child's safety, security first. If the child is afraid of asking a question in the classroom and wishes to talk to the teacher otherwise, outside the classroom atmosphere, the child has to be allowed to do that. So much so that there are children who message me on WhatsApp because they don't want to interact with me face to face. In the classroom, I get these messages that, ma'am, I'll message you in the evening. I'll talk to you over chat because they don't want to express themselves in that classroom atmosphere. It's okay as long as they are open to sharing their concerns and getting them sorted with an adult. So these examples are given in our teacher meetings. We do also have a counseling unit which supports the teachers and the children to handle these situations.
That is awesome to know. But ma'am, how to strike a balance? Because as you said, right? So there are some parents. It's a spectrum of opinions. So some parents would say, "No, no, no, examinations, agara kuch nahi, we just chill. It's okay." Uh, at the same time, we know that the country that we live in, it's going to be competitive.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people in line for the job that you want by the sheer number of population, basically. So there is a limit up to which you can say that there's no competition, no exams. It can't hold true right now in the system that we are. So we have to speak about the importance of examinations, doing well in it, but also not stress them out to a degree that sometimes parents are a little scared that if my child is going to be okay after the examinations. Uh, as a school and as a parent, uh, how to strike a balance in this, not necessarily in the exam time because it's pretty much war time, but even around exams, how to strike a balance in these things.
So basically, the first mantra is you need to have conversations with your children. This is a tip for the parents. I usually speak about this in my classrooms when children express home concerns in a classroom atmosphere. I do tell them that, it's a good idea to talk about this with your parents, to which they say that they are not open to having these conversations. All they talk about is abhyas, exams, and my scores. So, to strike this, like you were asking me, the first thing is to break the ice and not have conversations only around exams, percentages, subjects, academics, and have other conversations to build that healthy rapport between the child and the parent. It is extremely essential if you want your child to come and share everything that the child is doing or every fear that the child has with you. It is important to have a communication, which is right now what I sense is it's not there, especially with children in the adolescent stage. Maybe initially, when the child is a little younger in the junior classes, parents have to drop off, pick up the children from various locations. That's when in between they have conversations. But as the child grows older, grade 8 onwards, especially, this is also a part of making the child independent. The child goes on his own wherever he or she has to go. And the only time parents and children meet is late evenings after work hours, when both the parents are tired, the child is also tired, and then there is no conversation, and suddenly there is exam time, and then the parents want to know where the child stands. So I always feel that if there is a good rapport between children and their parents,
Mm-hmm.
these problems would get sorted easily. They just need a listening ear, basically.
So
They
true.
are not looking for solutions. They just want somebody to hear them out. They want whatever is happening inside them, they want to vent it out.
That is so true. And uh, how amazing it is that people coming from different walks of life, like you are a principal, we have had a child psychologist and AI expert, all of them are actually harping on this point that children after 13, 14, when we say that, they are now teens, ते तर ऐकतच नाही, वो नहीं सुनते हमारी. Exactly, that's the time when they need someone to validate
Yes.
their feelings. And if parents don't, or if parents can't, whatever is the situation, they would turn to someone else, which can be their peers, which can be other adults that parents may or may not approve of. But then it's out of our hands because they would seek validation somewhere. They would want to talk about their feelings with someone. Very interesting. So, parents and teachers who are parents, if you are listening, conversation, I think, is going to be your biggest savior, not just in exams, but in overall competitive world that children are currently growing up into. We have a question hello, ma'am, a question from a student here. What to do if you know all the answers from for the questions given in the question paper, but even if you write the answer, you usually don't get full marks for the answer. Let me just tweak the question a little bit that uh, when it comes to marks, how important is it in the overall sense of things? Because based on the school, based on the board, these questions keep coming back to the school कि मैंने तो ये लिखा था, मार्क नहीं मिला, एक मार्क बढ़ा
Yes.
के चाहिए, 2 मार्क. So what is your take on the entire marks thing basically?
So basically, end of the day, nobody asks you how much did you score in grade 10? What was your score in grade 12? Personally, I was a very average student. I scored only 75, like I'm using the word only with a purpose, only 75% marks in grade 10. But nobody asks me this question. How much did you score? I mean, that's not the point. It's always the kind of work that you are doing that matters. So I would suggest to this, whoever this child is asking about marks, we don't get marks. Um, I think whatever you get, you should be satisfied with that, and you should approach the person and find out where you went wrong and not haggle for those marks. Finding out what else could you have done to make your answer better becomes a learning. And the whole point is not about getting full marks, it's about learning. It's about improving. It is about taking in new information, taking in new learnings from the adult who is guiding you. That is more important. That should be of utmost importance than how much did I score out of 30.
That's very interesting as a take. One of the therapists always used to say that when you are in the problem, the very first thing to do is step out of it and look at it first, and then see what really matters. Exactly how you said about it right now, that marks, good or bad, how much one or two extra, not extra. And you're absolutely right on that. People will not ask you about your marks. Just before the webinar, when we were talking about it, that even the bigger companies who only used to hire from the best of the institutions, or in US only the Ivy Leagues kind of a thing. In the last couple of years, things have changed. With the advent of AI, it's not just premium institutions se hiring hoga. All of this is breaking down somewhere. Technology is becoming an equalizer. Skills are becoming an equalizer. So, as parents, I think it's important for us to sometimes step out of it, the marks thing, as you rightly said, and look at it from the objective perspective. कॉन्सेप्ट कळली आहे का? याचं पुढे काय करता
Correct.
येणार आहे? डू यू नो
Correct.
द ऍप्लिकेशन ऑफ इट? Wonderful. We have a question in the chat, and that will link us to the next question. Amrita is asking that my child loves to play keyboard and he also sketches well. I have seen the pattern of going more towards these things, especially during exams. Is it an internal stress or stress relieving attempt, tug of war going on? Because as a parent, I try to limit it, and he hates literally when I say go back to studies. So here he becomes so intolerant towards the statement to go back to studies, and what can I do? So in exam time, the natural defense mechanism is if a child is playing basketball, हे सगळं थांबव and focus on the papers. आणि ते झाल्यावर परत जा. Uh, what do you think about it? Because you also follow classical music, and I have seen you even performing at the time when the school is going on in full swing. So it's not रिकामा वेळ असला की हॉबी करू. तर काय वाटतं मुलांबद्दल?
So, I would say to this parent that it's not a good idea to limit your child. Let that art come out. That's the first thing I would say. Also, how your child has been attempting to study that particular subject through the year is also very important. Regular studies, if the child has been following a practice, at least spending an hour every day studying apart, this is apart from the homework time, the child would be well prepared by the time it's his exam time. And then studying just for 2 hours on the day prior to the exam is also going to be sufficient. Probably the child is already prepared, but parents become more anxious की उद्या परीक्षा आणि हाच चित्र काढत बसलाय. But if the child is confident enough की माझा अभ्यास झालाय, it is okay. Because those 2 hours, studying 2 hours on the prior day, the child knows exactly what to pick up from the syllabus, which is important and which he needs to remember. He is going to revise only that much. To gain that confidence, of course, the child has to study from day one, dedicatedly giving that 1 hour of regular practice apart from his homework time. If the child has been following that, I don't think there should be any problem. The second point is having some time of relaxation in between revision time is also very essential. So whenever I'm in class, I always suggest students to follow the Pomodoro technique. This is a very tried and tested way of revision where you have 15 to 20 minutes of revision time followed by a 5-minute break. You join back the revision session, post those 5 minutes of a break, and you recollect whatever you have read in the earlier span and continue further. So these are intermittent break that you get in your revision schedule. And this is proven scientifically that it helps children to retain information better. So if the child is using those 5 minutes to just, express himself through art, music, maybe he's watching something on television for those 5 minutes, whatever form of entertainment the child wants to have in those 5 minutes, one should allow them to take that break.
Pomodoro technique, very, very interesting. And those breaks would usually help them focus a little better
Yes,
when they come
yes.
back to it.
Shorter spans of study time are more focused and they help the child to sit in one place. If you ask the child ki tu ekas taas abhyas kelas and expect them to sit for 3 long hours, those next 2 hours are going to be mindless work. There is no concentration. So the one also needs to understand the expanse of their attention span. How much can the child sit in one place and give quality time to whatever the child is revising at that moment. I would also add here that when the child is doing this 1 hour study pattern, the parent needs to sit next to the child. And when I say the parent needs to sit next to the child, it means the parent is also involved or studying alongside the child and not scrolling on his or her own mobile phone. Basically, because in the process of revision, if the child has a doubt and has somebody to help right next to me, so doesn't lose out on time, and तिथल्या तिथे ती doubt query sort होते instead of waiting or looking for somebody to solve that problem. It's okay to use a device if
Hmm.
the child asks the parent, I have this doubt, and if the parent says, come on, both of us will look for this answer on the mobile.
Correct.
Both of them scroll together, read the answer together. So
Hmm.
the child also has this feeling that yes, there is somebody who is supporting me in all this. Just that 1 hour of time every day, I'm sure parents can give that much time.
That is very interesting and in alignment with another pattern that we have seen because Asymmetrical has a digital library and we work with schools in one of the parent interaction, rather children parent, all of them were sitting together for a storytelling and a child said that I love reading on Asymmetrical because that's the only 20 minutes when me and Baba, both of us don't know things and we are trying to learn new things. I think that's in alignment that
Yeah,
children feel that they have a partner when
yeah,
they get stuck somewhere, which is a good feeling to have, basically. Wonderful. Wonderful. So, Pomodoro technique. And I think the Pomodoro technique that you spoke about is also a very good solution to, again, one problem that we keep hearing, which is आजकाल attention span मुलांचा कमी
yes,
झालाय. They are
yes,
focusing for lesser amount of time, but frankly, with all the digital distractions that we have, तो सगळ्यांचाच कमी झालाय.
yes,
Children will have to give examinations and everywhere, so they will be seen more, but even adults attention span has gone much
definitely. Yeah,
down. So in that case, even I think Pomodoro technique is a good idea, that short bursts of studies
yeah.
and then take break and come back to it, which is more effective. Nice. We have another question. Sanskriti is saying that it gets very confusing while starting to prepare. Like we don't know where to start and what to do and get overwhelmed because of it. What to do about it? I think this is more to do with scheduling studies before examination.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, like I said in the earlier question as well, studying on the previous day, the entire revision is not a good idea. On the previous day, one has to have leisure time, getting enough sleep, 8 hours minimum sleep. So one needs to plan revision schedule right from the day. Probably the planner is given in the hands of the child saying that your exams are scheduled in September, which you come to know in the month of June. So begin your studies from there. I'm again going to stress on this point that from day one, spending 1 hour of self-study time is what is going to help you prepare for your term and examination. So maybe now, if this child is in, say, whatever class, it's almost end of term one. If this practice that I'm suggesting right now could be started off in the month of October, November, and prepare yourself for the annual examination, maybe that might help. Sanskriti, you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I hope Sanskriti, you're listening to this and you will start working on this process of studying 1 hour every day so that you don't get stressed out at the end of the day, because it is humanly impossible to remember all the information if you're going to study it on the last day.
Hmm. Hmm.
Absolutely not possible. And that's where the confusion starts as to what exactly out of all these 4 or 5 lessons that have been told to me as syllabus, what exactly should I focus on? Because you have not tried and find out what exactly is important from lesson number 1, 2, 3, 4. If you had done regular study, you would have had the crux of what exactly is important and you would have studied only that much on the previous day.
Right. And
So
also, studying anything is more like muscle training, right? It needs discipline. Uh,
Yes. It's
you
all
like
about habit formation.
true, true. So scheduling, having a better timetable before examinations and during the regular year usually helps. True. There is a very interesting question. It's anonymous. So the student is saying, I am a student and I wish to ask that usually during papers, I know all the answers. But while
Mhm.
writing the papers, I always get hyper and just make tiny mistakes, due to which I am unable to score full marks. This is very important. These silly mistakes things. Anyways, it's not about my parents pressuring me over that. It's just that my peers usually keep on saying to me that I'm capable of more, and my parents tell me the same. So my overall question is, if everyone else sees it, why can't I see it?
That's because you, my dear child, are bogged down by expectations. I'm going back to the first question. Your peers are expecting something out of you, your parents are expecting something out of you, and you are placing yourself up to that expectation. And that's why you are making these silly errors. Okay. First of all, I think you should forget about all these expectations and give your best shot. That is more important. If you are so well prepared, what is pulling you down is the fear that I need to fulfill somebody's expectations. Come out of that zone and you will do fantastically well and you will score full marks, is what I can see, what I can sense, and I'm sure you will score full marks.
Awesome. What a wonderful confession this person had. I hope we have enough time because we have some beautiful questions lined up. Uh, there are a couple of questions which are mainly about that the future admissions are dependent on marks. I think something that we were discussing before the
Yeah, yeah.
webinar. So a lot of future depends on the marks and institutions that children will get into. So how to tell them about the importance, and they will be competing with the entire country. This leads to stress. So how do we answer that?
So again, it is all about habit formation, how well you have designed yourself to fall into this rat race. I would call it a rat race. Um, Again, to give you an example, again, symbolizing it or giving an analogy, a person who is running, say, a marathon, he starts slowly because he knows he has to finish somewhere. But a person who is, running fast right at the beginning will slow down in the middle and probably not complete the entire marathon because he's lost all the energy. So if you have aspirations of joining the top-notch universities or cracking the NEET, JEE examinations, you have to begin right. You have to begin early and you have to pace it right. Again, not cramming up everything when you're in grade 11 and 12. Start small, start early, pace it right, and you will be able to accomplish whatever
Hmm.
you have been aspiring for.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I would also add a line here that it is not mandatory that everybody gets selected in the NEET process or the JEE process. It is all right to complete your engineering from a very standard college, which may not be listed in the top-notch universities. Okay, it's all about learning. It shouldn't matter from where you have completed your degree because your work should speak for you and not the labels that you carry alongside.
Absolutely. I think this is a very, very powerful point. Uh, Not every child is meant to do what parents want them to do. It has been extremely lucrative. The usual ways of IIT, JEE, everything that we have been seeing, they might not hold true for every child. Whether or not they are good or bad is completely dependent on what the family thinks and looks for, but they might not be for every child. And as you rightly said, that slowly technology is becoming an equalizer. Currently, we are working in the nooks and corners of Maharashtra. with government schools also. And what we are seeing is astonishing. Grade 5, 6 students from places like Beed, Ambejogai, Mazalgaon are creating beautiful apps, are creating beautiful AI projects. So as you said, it might not be important whether you go to those top 50 or top 10 universities. What skills you have with you will determine your career. There is an interesting question by a parent, which is person oriented. I think the parent has a teenager with
Okay.
them, because this is very person oriented question, that, as ma'am correctly said, teachers should be approachable to the questions of students, and not tell them like itka pan yet nahi ka, like
Mm-hmm.
why can't you just solve something as simple
Yeah,
as
yeah.
that. And my kid complains about one teacher from the school, and he says passing purte marks anil fakta for that particular subject. So I'll just pass in that subject because I don't like the teacher. Now these are very person oriented
Yeah.
expectations or problems. It can be teachers, it can be school, it can be parents, it can be peers. What do you see, and how to address those?
So, again, I would come to this point of having conversations with your child on this. Addressing that right now, understanding the concept and the subject is more important than the person in question. It shouldn't be revolving around the person who is teaching you the particular concept or the subject. It should be more about what have I learned and whether I am doing good in terms of conceptual understanding of that particular subject. And like I said, if you still feel that this particular person is unapproachable and I cannot deal with this subject because of this particular person, you can always approach someone else who can help you develop the love for that subject. So I'll quote a personal example again. Till grade 7, I would fail miserably in mathematics because of, like, again, person specific, because I wouldn't blame the person now that I'm in the same profession. I understand how it feels to be on the other side. In grade 8, we had a change of teacher. I got another male teacher as a mathematics teacher for me in grade 8, and he changed the world for me because his approach towards the subject was totally different. The way he would deal with children who are not doing well in that particular subject changed the whole game for me. From grade 8 onwards, I took up the onus of doing or practicing mathematics on my own, getting his help, going to him and saying, "Sir, just check if I've done it right." Then he would start calling me to the board to solve the sums because he knew I was not doing it right. He would make me solve it on the board, and very non-judgmentally he would correct me when I would go wrong on the board. And that sense kind of developed, I wouldn't say the love for mathematics, but at least the fear for mathematics slowly started going down. And in grade 10, in those times, we would have two papers for mathematics, 75 marks each. So I just fell short of 1 mark in the board exams. But the entire credit goes to the same person. That helped me to take up mathematics in grade 11, though I was an art student. I took up mathematics, but again, the flip side of the story was that I could not get along with my professor in grade 11 and I struggled again. So I went back to my grade 10 teacher and he said, um, it is okay not to be doing well in the particular subject. If you have another option, look for that. It is okay to fail. The statement that he made was, it is okay to fail. You leave mathematics. I'm not saying that you continue just because you've taken it up, you have to continue it till you pass grade 12. Drop it after 11th standard and take another subject. मी माझाच सब्जेक्ट सांगतोय तुला ड्रॉप करायला.
Amazing.
So I had to drop mathematics and I took up psychology in grade 12. So I could see the transition that I was going through
Hmm.
for a particular subject with different people guiding me at different levels. So I feel it should not be person specific. Your love or your fear for a particular subject should not be person specific, and it should be more about how well you are understanding the concepts. Maybe you are taking help from somebody else, from your parents, um, online help, whatever. Today, these days, a lot of help is available to you from so many different spectrums. So avail those, all that help, and one person shouldn't be the deterring factor.
Correct. Correct. I think in this, even mentorship is a great way to go about it.
Yes,
And it can come
yes,
from anywhere. It can be your favorite teachers, it can be
yeah,
people in the school, it can be parents, it can be an older cousin. The mentorship can come from anywhere where they will help you step out of the problem a
absolutely.
little bit, not just hating a subject because of a person, and will sort of give you a bigger picture and the context. This is great. A lot of students who are listening have loved the Pomodoro technique that you have said and are asking that in those 5 minutes break, uh, what to do. But is it just person dependent? Because then you can do anything. You can read, you can scroll, you can do
Yeah,
anything.
so like I gave this example in context of the parent was asking me about the
Yeah,
art thing.
yeah, yeah.
The child loves sketching, you can go ahead and sketch. If the child is, wanting to play something, an indoor game, go ahead, do that. If you would like to make tea for yourself, go make tea, have a cup of tea and come back.
Interesting.
Whatever you feel at that moment.
Some children had asked about the reading, that what kind of reading. Now from asymmetrical perspective, I would love to take that
Yeah.
up, that any kind of reading is fine. Reading is a great habit, and develop that with any kind of book. Don't follow the norm that now that you're older you should read more serious books. It doesn't matter. The habit of reading can be with absolutely anything. It can be a funny book, a comic book, a simple book. If you are not a regular reader and you want to get into reading, start with a simple book. You don't have to start reading the serious books because the world thinks that this is a great book for you. It's very unnecessary. Start with any kind of book. It can be imaginative book, suspense, thriller, fun. But read, because that really helps you focus. So reading is amazing. Reading is very cool and is great for your academics also. So
If I may add to this,
yes, please.
a lot of the subjects that are there at school level, it is all about comprehension.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, whatever you may read, like you rightly said, what kind of books to read is not to be prescribed. Whatever you read is
Hmm.
going to help you with your comprehension skills.
Yeah,
For that matter, even mathematics, science has a language component in it. So, the more you read, the better your comprehension is, and it will help you in all the subjects that you're trying to attempt. So, basically, children have the fear for mathematics because they don't understand word problems. Where does this not understanding word problem stem out of? It stems out of them not reading, because you don't have enough vocabulary to understand what exactly is being asked in the word problem.
okay.
So the more you read, you are enriching your vocabulary. It's going to help you comprehend better. Comprehend not only the language aspect, but comprehend also the language that is used in other subjects. So reading is super beneficial.
That's a very interesting way to look at it, how it also helps you in academics as well. We have some questions in the chat box which are mainly regarding uh, what to do one day prior to exam and during and after examinations. For example, just 2 hours before exam, should we study? Or some people say that you should relax and let your mind wander a little bit. Just one day before, should we do all the revision? Should we start writing or do a mental revision? And some students are asking that immediately after the exam, should we start discussing the question paper or it will stress you out? So just around the exam in that tight time capsule, what are your suggestions?
So this is more about how you revise and when you revise. Um, when I am in classroom, I give the suggestion to my kids that the day a particular concept is taught, you go back home and read just that paragraph and take down the keywords. So get into the habit of creating these notes for yourself, and that is what you should be studying on the day prior. one day before the exam. You cannot obviously sit through and read all the 4 or 5 chapters, textbook content, whatever you may have written in the notebook. All that is not possible because again, you are cramming information which you will not remember when you're writing the exam. So much of information retention is not possible. So just the keywords which will help you to develop your own answers, you go through those as revision. But for that, you have to do some prior homework of listing down those keywords concept wise. So that is one thing that I would suggest. Second thing is during examinations, you need to take some short breaks even while you're writing. After finishing, say 2, 3 questions, take a break, take a pause, deep breathe for some time, and go back to the question paper. Before you start attempting the question paper per se, have a deep understanding of what are the kinds of questions that are asked in the question paper. Decide whether you want to attempt all of them. Do you know the answers to all of them? Or there are few questions to which you are going to struggle. Leave those questions for the last minute. Attempt what you know first so that you are able to get those marks. In the process, what I've observed students doing is that they attempt the questions that they don't know first. And they waste time in thinking about what could be the answer to this question. In the bargain, they lose out on completing what they already know.
Okay.
And then their scores get affected. So how to attempt the exam question paper also is something that they need to look at. Attempt what you know first, and then if time permits, go back to the questions that you don't know. And the last thing that you asked was, yes, discussing the answers after the exam is over definitely stresses you out because you know what you have written. And sometimes what you've written is not correct, is what you come to know after the discussion. And that has its effect on your next examination. If you discuss it at that moment and you come to know that you've gone wrong, you will keep thinking, "Are माझे एवढे मार्क गेले, माझे तेवढे मार्क गेले," and it is going to affect your revision for the next exam and it will affect your performance in the next exam. So you can wait. I mean, what you've written, you can't change that anymore. So why worry over it and spoil your next performance? Keep that discussion pending till the last day of the examination.
This is very interesting. Uh, because usually later stressing out doesn't really help. And what you said about tackling what you know first. So if you start tackling difficult questions first, does that also sort of hit your confidence? की मला हेच नाही
Yes,
येत
it
आहे, त्याचं
does. Yes,
पुढचं
it
कसं
does.
होईल?
It does. It does.
हम्म, हम्म. Okay. And timing the papers, yes, this question is for older students.
Yes.
Timing the papers and preparing to actually write papers in that 2 to 3 hours window, does that help? Does that study technique still
Yes,
help?
so those of you who are going to appear for the board exams, probably writing papers, like sitting in one place for 3 hours and solving papers really helps in terms of, children don't know how to sit in one place these days. 3 hours is a long stretch of time for them. So that practice helps them. It also helps them to time themselves better in terms of how much to spend on particular section. Generally in the CBSE pattern, section A is all about MCQs. So how much time can you spend on MCQs? How much time does
Acha.
that leave me with the rest of the question paper?
Hmm.
So that comes out of practice. And
Hmm.
everybody has a different speed of writing. So they will have different time slots given for handling each section.
Hmm.
So for board exams, if you are appearing for board exams in February, starting off somewhere in November, December, practice writing is going to help them to time it better.
Okay. Okay. Uh, I think most of the questions, there are some very specific question paper related questions, which unfortunately parents we can't take up because we have students from all different schools and boards. So, particular question paper related queries might not help everyone. So, we are trying to be a little wider with our questions. Like MCQs are for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That might not help everyone right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Okay. There is a wonderful question from a parent, I think, which already has a little bit of answer imbibed in it. But I would love for you to answer that from your wide experience of dealing with students, looking at different generations go through, and how, uh, in the last 5 years, especially post COVID, things have changed, and what exactly are we dealing with in terms of future. So Mr. Shashank is asking that as our children grow up in a world that is rapidly changing, where technology, jobs, the environment, global order, and even family life look very different from what we experienced, how can we help them build the inner strength and flexibility to face future uncertainties with confidence, bounce back from setbacks, and stay mentally healthy in the face of stress and unexpected challenges?
Okay, I would say two things here. One is meditation. Okay, that really helps you to build on all these things that you have mentioned in the question. So for a child, it may be very difficult to practice an extensive time of meditation, but beginning small is really going to help. What we practice at our school, something called as quiet time. uh, End of the day, we have a 10-minute music that is played where the children sit quietly and reflect on what happened through the day. They maintain journals about all this, the good times that they had through the day. Something went wrong, not up to the mark, something that worried them. They jot down. There's journaling happening on a daily basis, reflection time. So, if that could be practiced mindfully on a day to day basis at home as a family, and discussing those whatever points are journaled within the family members, I think that would build on the mental strength of the child to deal with problem areas, finding solutions from one's own family members, having a small family discussion kind of a thing. And the second thing that I would suggest here is regular exercise. Okay, because that's something, physical strength is something that also helps you build mentally, getting you prepared for the challenges that you are going to face in the future. So, one is exercise for the mind, and the second thing is exercise for the body. So, these are two things. Apart from the regular academic routine, one needs to find time to do both these things if you want to be future ready.
This is fantastic. I think we covered a huge gamut of things, not just examinations, focusing on examinations, uh, right from why having conversations with children is even more important these days. With more and more connected with technology, we are, it's a little harder to actually stay in touch. So, regular conversations and check ins with your children, Pomodoro technique for studying, and even before that, having a good timetable for studying. Because when we speak about the syllabus, the vastness of it, sometimes some subjects being a little difficult, that means that in your schedule and in your time, you will need to allot a little more time to that subject for the understanding of it. There could be school or teachers or classes or tuitions or mentors wherever you go to, but regular habit of studying and discipline is going to get them not just academically better, but the mental strength of regularly doing these things. And as Mr. Shashank has absolutely rightly pointed out, we are looking at a very, very different world than what we as parents and teachers grew up in. The careers look different. What we have seen as a successful path might not be the only path for your children. And it's time that even as parents and teachers, we become a little curious about what lies ahead. It can be AI, it can be psychology, it can be so many different things. The entrepreneurial landscape is amazing in India. What is your child good at? Naval Ravikant, one of my favorite authors, has written about what is your unique advantage. And unfortunately, a lot of adults also are not very aware of what is their unique advantage. We only keep hearing these doomsday stories that these many people are sacked from the jobs and everything. At the same time, there is a new world order that is being born, which is with technology. Expose your children to good technology, healthy technology, and be a participant in it, not just a spectator, because a lot of things are new for us as well as parents and teachers. All these things will ensure one, a healthy ecosystem, and much mentally and physically healthier generation that's going to do some awesome things. Thank you so much, Anjali ma'am, for agreeing to do this with us and for having this wonderful discussion and giving your insight. Grateful to this.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you and addressing the questions that the parents and students had. If there is anything that I could do further down the line, more than welcome.
Absolutely. So on that note, there are some parents who have asked a lot of questions and even students that we could not answer. Surashri, if you can quickly put in our email ID, which is hello@asymmetrical.ai. If please give us the feedback of this session. We will be getting the recording of this session on the YouTube so that you can share it with your friends and family who couldn't attend today because we were at the complete full capacity of Zoom. So maybe some of them could not attend today. We will be sharing that. And if there are any particular questions that we couldn't answer, please send them those. Anjali ma'am, if you're okay, we will collect those questions together, sort of like FAQs. We'll see some pattern in that and we will get back to you for those answers
Sure.
and we'll circulate it amongst the parents.
Definitely. I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Awesome. So, hello@asymmetrical.ai, it's put in the chat box. So, please send the feedback and whatever questions you still have after this session. Thank you so much for joining in. Anjali ma'am, very grateful for your
Thank you.
connection with you, with your school.
Thank you.
Asymmetrical is very happy to do this with you always. Thank you to all the parents, teachers, and students for spending 1 hour of Sunday with us. Take care. Have wonderful examinations. Think well, eat well. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.